there's a certain concept that perhaps you're familiar with, and it's called a paradigm shift. There may be certain ideas that you have about Islam, or about Muslims, or about how they act, or how they, different things that certain ideas you may have. But what I'm hoping to accomplish in today's presentation is to have you go through somewhat of a paradigm shift, and to have you think about things with an open mind, and realize that perhaps it may not be as you perceive it to be. And I'm hoping today that you will go through some of those paradigm shifts. Okay, let me stop here for a second. Give me some comments on that. What do you think? As an opening, is that a good opening? Is it not a good opening? How would you open it different? Let me see some hands. Like I said, I like this to be interactive. Yes?
To make my mind more concentrated.
Right, exactly. See, the thing is, look, when you're going to be opening, even when you're doing one-on-one da'wah, the one thing you want to do is disarm the person. You want to make sure the person is relaxed and comfortable with you, right? And one way you can do that is sometimes it's through being humorous, sometimes it's through smiling, sometimes it's just through asking the person's name. A lot of times what happens is people jump into the da'wah mode, and they're not really worried about the person's name or where they're from, but the thing is, you need to show some sort of concern for the person right off the bat. Okay? So the initial point is that you want to make the person feel comfortable with you. And a big part of that is smiling, right? Especially when you're doing one-on-one da'wah. But the idea is to make someone feel comfortable with you. Okay, what else? Anyone else want to contribute anything, say anything? Any sort of input? Okay. By the way, I'm actually thinking about starting calling on people, so just be ready. Because that's how I kind of do these things. Okay, so I'll continue on, and I'll continue on how I kind of introduce the subject. So I said that because the presentation is about Islam, I'll start off with linguistically what Islam means. And typically, when I talk about linguistics, my wife always tells me that it's something very boring and don't do it, but I'm not going to listen to her today. I'm going to do it anyway. Okay? So, Islam. What does this word Islam mean? What does it come from? What does it have meaning? It has 5 basic meanings. Okay? How many people have heard that Islam means peace? Raise your hand. Okay. That's not quite exactly what it means. Alright? It does kind of mean that. We'll get that in a second. Islam basically has 5 basic meanings when you look at it. It means to surrender, right? Surrender your soul, or surrender yourself to the will of God. It means submission, to submit yourself, right? To the will of God. It means obedience, that whatever God has commanded, you do, and whatever is forbidden, you stay away from. It has a meaning of sincerity, that all of these things that we're going to do, we do it purely and sincerely. Not from any sort of coercion, not because someone told us to. No, it's done sincerely for the sake of God. And once all of those things are done, then you enter into the 5th definition, or 5th part of the definition, that you have a state of peace within yourself. So this is generally what the word Islam means. Now, Islam is, like I said, it's these 5 things. If we were to compare it to, let's say, the names of other religions, just to diverge a little bit. For instance, we look at the name of the religion of Christianity, and it has to do with Christ, Jesus, right? So you see, right in the name, there's an idea of a person. Let's say Judaism. Where does Judaism come from? From what? The tribe of Judah. So now you have a tribe. Again, it's related to a certain thing. You can take any other religion as well. Buddhism comes from where? Buddha. Again, it's a person. Islam is very different. Why? Because of the 5 definitions that I just mentioned to you. In other words, there's an action involved. Now, if I was going to throw a statement out there, I want you to think about it for a second, but remember what I started off with in terms of the story I told. What I'm going to say now is that one of the beliefs that we have in Islam is that every single prophet, Adam, Noah, Jesus, John the Baptist, Moses, upon them be peace, all of them were Muslim. Now, before you get up and say, wow, how dare he say such a thing, that they would be Muslims? What? Why would you say such a horrible, what were you talking about? Hang on. And this is why I'm saying what I'm saying. And then you can feel free to disagree with me once I've explained what I'm about to say. In Arabic, now we'll go back to linguistics. show a person doing an action. Okay, now this isn't a cut and dry rule, but in general, what you can do is you can add an MU to the beginning of the word. I'm saying MU, but we know what's the meaning, right? Okay. So you can add MU to the beginning of the word. So when we want to say give the call to prayer, right? If you've ever been to a mosque, you'll see that they have a call to prayer. The person calls people Allah, etc. That is called the adhan. So the person that does that is a mu'adhan or a mu'adhan. Similarly, traveling. In Arabic they say safar. And I think the English word safari comes from the very same word, by the way, safar. What is the person that does the suffering? Suffering. No, I mean suffer when you travel. Okay, yes. But who's the person that does the travel? It's a suffer or a musafir. The one that submits, surrenders, is obedient, is sincere, and attains a state of peace. In other words, Islam is a Islam or a Muslim. So when we say that all of the prophets were Muslims, this is what we're referring to. That they were people who were sincere when it came to God. That they were people who surrendered themselves to the will of God. They submitted themselves, and by that they attained a state of peace. So how many people now, when I say that the prophets are all Muslims, based on this definition, how many people disagree with that? Of course, in the presentation, I've yet to find people who disagree with that. Okay, let me stop here.